What he said at the end.
We don't question
You have
anything.
to research.
You have to research, educate yourself, and then if you have the education, educate.
Yeah, like
because, yeah.
And let me tell you, 10 years ago, I would have been like, everybody's probably going to watch this video and think we're lost.
Yes.
I was one of those people that I thought, yeah, there is systemic racism,
Yeah.
There's stuff. Because I didn't really do any research, I just took the rhetoric of what people said.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's just on YouTube. It's just like a documentary on YouTube. And they went to all these countries that were devastated by communism. Mm-hmm. And before it all happened, it was so weird. They actually had footage of the people in the streets, like they are here. They have all these countries, China and all, and they were saying it in their language. But when they translated what they were saying we shall overcome, and it almost made me sick.
Yeah,
because they said
they
used all these different countries that did it, and they were saying that song. And I just thought to myself, what are they saying? They were like, what are they saying? And then it said, we shall overcome. And I thought to myself, oh no. God. I just thought to myself, really? Wow. And they were just like, what they do is they make you believe that socialism is a utopia. That there's going to be this utopia world where everybody gets free stuff. There's no oligarchy. There's no head of state. There's the people run the country. You know what I mean?
Capitalism is bad. No, it's not.
Because it oppresses people. But, no,
it doesn't.
It gets you all in your ego a little bit. And what happens is that people go for it because most people, let's keep it real, most people don't want to work hard.
They don't.
It's an easier sell. That's what I'm saying. Even with the Republican platform versus the liberal platform or the Democrat platform, is that the Democrat is all about social programs, all about putting money in welfare and
free schools.
Free schools.
It's not free.
Nothing's free. We all pay for that. Right. But it's an easier sell than it is when the conservatives say, pick yourself up by your bootstraps and run. The problem is that actually does work.
Right.
I mean, wasn't Booker T. Washington proved that? That works. You plant, you bloom where you are. You pick yourself up, and you plant yourself. He didn't want to get rid of capital. He wanted to use it, and it helped because it made a lot of black neighborhoods become something.
And he also, so that mentality, pick yourself up by your bootstraps. That mentality is eliminating whining.
Yeah,
it's eliminating the oppression talk. It's literally taking that out of it.
Let's keep it real. Most Americans haven't left the country.
Yeah,
so they don't know what it looks like on this country. That's why
a
lot of people that are from Cuba, almost everybody from Cuba that lives in America are Republicans. Because they know what Castro.
They know exactly what communism
is. What their family went through with Castro. And so a lot of them come over here and they're Republicans.
Yeah.
They
saw it.
They saw it.
They were in it.
And they're not going back to that. You know what I mean? Because they realize that it's much better to work hard and to really work hard and to have some sort of power over your own life than it is to go and beg and say, I can't.
Right.
And get the state to sort of bail you out all the time. You know what I mean? It doesn't help. I mean, think about it. Welfare has not helped us. What has welfare really done?
There's a part on Uncle Tom where there's a mother who is, there's a couple of them. They're at the welfare, I guess, building, and the state they were in, they haven't delivered the welfare checks and all this stuff, right? So there's two women that specifically were talking about this. Yeah, they were talking about this with their babies on their arms and their kids hanging next to them. They go, the government hasn't given me my welfare check money. They haven't given my money yet. My check hasn't come in yet. I've been sitting here for 6 hours and I still ain't got no money from welfare. My kids are hungry. I'm thinking to myself, you've been sitting out here all day.
What if you don't get it?
For 6,
you're gonna let your kids starve
all day, and your kids are hungry, and whatever, because you're waiting on someone to give you a handout. Your children need you to get out of that line and go and figure out how you're going to create and generate income for your family. But no, we've created a society of people who are beholden and just like a slave to these government programs.
You're an unmarried woman. Why do you have all those kids? That woman had like 6 kids. It's like, why do you have all these kids and you can't feed them by yourself? You know what I mean? Even Thomas Sowell said in Free to Choose with Milton Friedman, he told the welfare, the lady that was from the welfare agency, he was just like, no, welfare incentivizes people to not try.
Yeah.
It incentivizes women to marry the government and for men to abandon their moral responsibility. Yep. And she just was saying, well, what about these women that are head of household? He's right, they're head of household because they have been in their moral, their moral way of life. You should be married to this man, and you shouldn't be having sex unless you're really married.
But we all know the welfare game. The more kids, more money.
Right.
The more kids,
and women were doing that. There were a lot of women that were
Mm-hmm.
having kids purposely so they could get more money from the government. And so it's just like, you got to understand that feeling like a victim is, it may feel good to maybe be mad at other people for your problems. It may feel good in the moment, but if it becomes a part of you, it can be the destruction that if we give away our freedom, like Joe Rogan said, people don't understand. Like when they talk about taking away the Second Amendment, you know what I mean? People don't understand. Once we start giving away our freedoms, we won't. It's easy to give away. It's very hard to get them back.
Well, he just said it.
They're not going to give them back. Just give them back to you.
He said that in the video. It just takes, if you are looking at things like First Amendments and stuff like that, those things are so important. I don't think people understand what that actually means, or what it really, really embodies, the idea of freedom of speech. When they take those things away, that's for everybody. That means that it may sound good to you when you don't like to hear what certain people are saying, but you understand that you're part of this freedom of speech thing too, so they can take your voice away too.
Like we might get demonetized for this video.
It's a very big possibility.
You know what I mean? We might get demonetized for this video. I don't even know if it'll stay up, so watch it.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that that's an attack on freedom of speech, by the way, when you get demonetized for stuff.
Stuff like that is
you should be able to say what you want to say. But the thing is, it's just like, but I'm watching this, I was just watching, Candace Owens did a video on Nick Avocado, and he's 700 pounds now, he's on a ventilator, he's overweight, he's eating all this food, and he's slowly killing himself.
And he was skinny before.
But she mentioned that he is worth 7.3 or some $million, and he's living in a penthouse in Las Vegas. And no one's demonetizing this kid who is killing himself on top. But they'll demonetize us because we're talking about artificial wombs. You understand? Like, there are things that they're okay with people being overweight. They're okay with women being mad at men. They're okay with men being mean to women. They're okay with gay people talking about they hate religion and all that. They're okay with that. There's nothing wrong with that because that's useful. When we all act like that on camera, we're useful idiots.
Yeah.
We are being useful to their propaganda. Our freedom of speech is going away.
Demoralize and then normalize. Right. Demoralize and normalize.
And how they handle people like me and Danielle or like Jericho Green or Thomas Sowell is they just call us coons. Yeah. Coons. And they call us sellouts or we're lost. Yeah. Because that's how they handle us. Yeah. They handle people like that so that when black people, because the majority of black people aren't going to think this way. Majority of black people think that the police are hunting them down,
shooting them like target practice.
And that black people didn't rise after slavery. That's what most black people think. They don't realize.
No,
I didn't.
I
didn't. You know what I mean? I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that there were more black neighborhoods like Tulsa, Oklahoma. I did not know that. I thought they make it sound like Black Wall Street was just the only black little area, but it wasn't. There were many areas like that, but of course there had to be. It was Jim Crow.
The fact that we don't do any research, there's a problem with minority, black people specifically, is that we don't do any research so they can get away with a lot of stuff because we never really question
Which is what he said at the end.
We don't question
You have to research.
Yeah, the research, educate yourself, and then if you have the education, educate.
And let me tell you, 10 years ago, I would have been like, everybody's probably going to watch this video and think we're lost.
Yes.
I was one of those people that I thought, there is systemic racism.
Yeah.
There's stuff because I didn't really do any research, I just took the rhetoric of what people said. And then as I'm starting to, because of the show, I've really looked into things and saw things, and I'm thinking to myself, God, man, this is so easy to brainwash people because I was totally brainwashed.
Well, also, even when you look at data and statistics and things like that, it does kind of all line up to be that we were lied to. Like, just that alone. So if you guys are into numbers, that just going to show you'd be surprised at some of the numbers. But I think that a lot of times people don't want that. People are not ready to hear a lot of the stuff that was said in these days. They warned us, and now we're here.
But when I listen to him, what immediately comes to my head is LGBT, LGBTQ. All of a sudden, BLM comes in my head. Feminism. All of it all starts to come in my head. I'm like, oh my God. Because I already think those groups are crap. But the thing is that I know so many people believe in them. And, it's just
and then if you go against them, then you're, homophobic, transphobic, racist, sexist,
they give you an
misogynistic.
ism.
Yeah, you're all these things.
An obic and an ism, and then suddenly they can shut you up because nobody wants to be called. If you're white, you don't want to be called racist, so you just stop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They're gonna do it to men. I mean, think about that. We've always said there's a war on men. There's a war on masculinity, war on men. They're making it sound like men are absolute. There's no reason for men. That's what this is what society is trying to do. And I'm only saying trying because I'm not letting that happen without saying anything. But they're extracting the masculinity from men and giving it to women.
But what does it do to men though? What it does is it turns you into a useful idiot too.
Yeah.
Because as soon as your masculinity is taken away because of some woman's movement, then you become an angry man.
Yeah.
And then you start saying things like, "I'm okay with artificial wombs.
Right.
I'm okay with being a man going my own way.
Yeah.
I'm okay with what do you call it, the incel, the one that turns himself into a woman because he can't get a woman, or but just these transmaxing is what they call it. You know what I mean? But you also become a useful idiot, and you don't even know it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're just going along with it, and the truth is that if you stand firm in the truth, these people all sound crazy.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Why is it that so many black people talk shit about America in America, yet everybody that's black and around the world is trying to get to America, but nobody in America is trying to leave that's black?
You're never gonna get me to ever believe that America's
as Vodi Bakum said, it's because black people know better here. They're not leaving this country. You could give someone $1 million, most of these black people $1 million, they won't leave America because they know this isn't the same. You go to Africa, it's not as great as you think. Some Africans will tell you that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I just think
we're doing things blindly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we do things so blind.
You give people little information and get them angry, and they'll destroy neighborhoods, businesses, each other. They'll get themselves killed. They'll spread propaganda. You know what I mean? And so
get them riled up, and people will do a lot. People will just go with the flow. Just go with it.
So that's the thing. It's just like these women, especially like feminists, they know they sound stupid, but they don't. They're so lost in their own ego that even if you tell them the truth, you present it to them, they'll still perpetuate this narrative because they're being brainwashed. You know what I mean? And then even men will sit there and say, "Oh, women suck." Well, not all women suck, but they end up becoming this sort of angry, frustrated, gotcha man that has to always be mad at women all the time. It's a horrible system.
It's a horrible what's happened, but it all by design. And to get us to where we are right now.
Yeah,
so now we have to break it. Now we have to like dismantle it. And like this guy is saying is that dismantling it means that you're going to have to get some people on board that are going to first learn and then say and then speak like we're doing right now. Like we learned some stuff and now we're doing our part in society by speaking it.
I see something happening that looks terrifying to me.
Right.
Because I see people who are at nuclear speed, just in their ignorance.
It's true.
And saying stuff that makes no sense at all, just so they can be part of groups.
Right.
And that's another thing. Humans like to be part of groups, and that's what they know because they've studied this. They know they realize that people like groups. We're pack herders. We like to be in part of packs.
One thing that I love is looking at human behavior. Like the human mind, the human behavior is so interesting to me. How we are kind of like, we run in packs and we have to have cliques. Cliques are big for us, right? We have to be part of something. Everybody wants to be part of something, and then a lot of times it's the part of something is to the detriment of yourself and to the society. And so like now we've become part of, the dumbing of society just for a hashtag.
And so I get worried about too much anger. I've never met a feminist that wasn't mad all the time.
Well,
always just yelling and being upset and frustrated. You know what I mean? It's just like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
You got your freedom. You don't have to get married if you don't want to. So what are you mad at? You're just mad because
there's literally no more boundaries for you. You can do whatever you want to do. Right? Is what you want to. So now you're a woman. You can do whatever you want to do. So where are the boundaries? What can you not do? So why are you mad? You should no longer be mad. Right?
Right.
But why are you? Right. So we just created a society of just, now it's just not enough to be a feminist. Now you have to be an angry one.
Yeah.
And even now you have to be enraged. It's like there's always something.
These ideologies have just gone too far.
Yeah.
And
I'm not on board.
I just think that we're going to be in some real trouble if we don't. If people who are in their right mind, and that's another thing, is that people who are in their right mind are afraid to say stuff, so they go along to get along.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's like a lot of black people who think exactly like I'm thinking won't say it because they don't want to be called Uncle Tom.
Well, we've had people in our comments say, like I have always felt the way we think sometimes. Because I've always felt this way. I just never really wanted to say anything because why? Because you're going to get called. I know, like we get called.
You get called names.
You're going to get called the coon and the bedwench and all these words that they use that are just ridiculous and just baseless. Whenever you have to resort to name calling, you run out of ideas. That's why I always feel that way. But you have to be able to be okay with that. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if someone is going to call you a transphobic or homophobic or whatever, or racist or whatever, because you are thinking logically about something that doesn't make sense for what's going on in society today, then you're going to have to be okay with being called that.
Right. Do you think Harvey Milk would love the way gay people live today? I mean, Harvey Milk, he probably would have thought, oh God, I never dreamed we'd be able to do this. You know what I mean? And here you're complaining.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think sometimes I think of people who were slaves.
Yeah.
If they were like, God, you guys have all this kind of freedom, what are you mad at?
What are you mad at?
I think they would look at us like, what the hell are you mad at? You can do whatever you want. People who came out of Reconstruction, they're probably like, we got more done.
Yeah.
Why aren't you guys more successful doing? I do question sometimes a parts of the civil rights movement, because I do wonder, had we just progressed like what's his name? Not W.E.B. the other one. Booker T. Washington he started, and where we were going. Had that had never happened,
the mentality,
where would we be today? Would we be way more successful? We carved out a big space, or we would be more. Our families would be more together. People would have more esteem, because it's hard to break down people who feel good about their accomplishments. You know what I mean? It's easy to make people feel bad when they don't have anything. But that's why you have to break up the family, because once you're proud of your life, or you just feel good about yourself, about what you've accomplished, it's harder to deceive you.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to deceive you if you are broke, and complaining, and alone.
Which is why I don't complain about. This is why I don't complain.
And if we're still protesting,
stay stuck
since the '60s.
Why are we still protesting?
Why are we still protesting? But I think if we get reparations, it won't be enough.
Yeah, it won't be, because there's always going to be another movement, another
something. It will be something more.
We have
more.
It
just never stops. You know what I mean? And then to the point where we just all hate each other because of it.
Yeah.
And then it's not a livable world to live in. It's just like we just, it's just so angry. I can't believe like certain things that I see. Like I see certain like people, like just black people. I look at you and I think to myself, why are you mad?
There's nothing to be mad about.
Like you really need to go to work.
Yeah.
And stop talking so much.
Right.
We just had Martin Luther King Day, and he had that really weird. Did you say?
Oh my God, that really weird statue of Martin Luther King.
Embrace.
So I didn't. When you told me about it, I hadn't looked at it yet. So I just looked at it up online. I'll put a picture of it up here. But when I saw that, I thought, what am I looking at? They say like a big penis.
Yeah, it was supposed to be him and Coretta, because that was when I think when he got the Nobel Peace Prize.
And the picture I have,
the picture they have is when he got the Nobel Peace Prize.
So this is.
I hate the way he's hugging her. He looks like a little girl.
He also looks like
I don't like that hug.
So that's what they decided to do.
It's just a very weird.
It's like either.
Why do you take their heads off? It's called Embrace, but I just think like it's not a good.
This is so horrible.
It's a horrible.
I
think it was like $10 million.
They said, I know all the taxpayers.
You know what I mean? But I just it's just like.
I was like, what?
Sometimes I just wonder. I just think really. I wonder how that statue is so ridiculous.
That statue is so weird. And when they say like a penis,
Chris came on stage. He said, "It's not the artist. It's all me." It's like, no, it's not you. Everyone sees what you're seeing.
Yeah,
it's not. It's weird.
It's really funny, you guys. But anyways, let us know what you think about this this topic. We would love to hear your thoughts on that. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And that's it. We will see you guys next week. Bye.